Howdy peeps, and welcome back to what will be part 2 of basic quick and dirty how to paint figures. As we can see, we got, or if you watched the previous episode, we've got all the base colours down onto him, all the main colours anyway. There'll be a few little touch up bits, but today we're going to be adding the first washes. Now for this, just for convenience, I'll be using on the main body of the figure one of the Citadel shades or washes, which is the Agrax Earth shade, which is a nice browny colour, and I'll show you how we do that in a minute. You can also use oils, you thin them down with white spirit and you can make an oil wash and get the same results. It just takes a lot longer to dry. Same with artist inks. We can thin these down with water, get the same results. They thin a long way. Or you could even use, let me just grab one off the shelf as a random example. Oh, if we can get one off without destroying the place. The usual enamel panel line washes. Again, you can thin them down a bit more with white spirit to make them easier to work with. Now you can also make a wash using your standard acrylic paints, your Citadel's, Vallejo, AK, Life Colour, whichever is your weapon of choice. And you can thin those with water, but if you just thin them with water, they don't work too well. It's something to do with the structure of the paint and the chemistry. So what I like to do when I'm thinning down an acrylic paint to make a wash is I'll either add some of the Vallejo Glaze Medium or the Citadel Lahmian Medium. Now what these are, ostensibly, probably easy to show you with this, as you can see it looks like a clear liquid. Oh, what it basically is paint without pigment. So you keep the structure of the paint intact, but you can make it thinner, so it behaves much better when you're trying to use it as a wash. You can combine that with water as well. As you can see, there are all sorts of different ways to get to the same results, but I'm lazy, so I'm going to go quick and dirty. Let's zoom in a little for this, shall we? And try and make sure I remember where we are on the map. Can we go in a bit further, do we reckon? Let's go in a little further and hope we can keep ourselves in shot. Now, as always with anything, especially this liquid, be careful when opening it. Put it down away from the model. I'll put it so you can actually see it in this case. And these annoying Citadel pots that like to shut themselves. For this we're going to use our, get it in shot sharp, size 2 flat brush, but again being careful not to overload the brush, he says. So we fill the brush, knock some of the excess out on the edge of the pot, and again we'll start off roughly in the middle of the figure, just slowly adding the wash to it. Now we want to allow it to pull in all the folds and creases to pick out all the details, but on the flatter areas you need to make sure it doesn't pull up on you, which it does have an alarming tendency to want to do. As you can see, we just and literally as we add it you can see all the folds and details in the fabric popping straight into view, almost like magic. Well, it isn't. Again, definitely not something I can take credit for. I probably learnt this about 30 years ago, back when I was doing the Warhammer Games Workshop stuff. I was using undead, so there was a lot of painting things bleached bone colour and giving it a flesh wash, and then just dry brushing back over with bleach bone and maybe a bit of white if we wanted really bright, cleanly picked bones, or leaving it a bit dirtier and grimier if we wanted it to look like it'd been out of the grave less time. Run out in there we go. Again, as we get closer to any other colours, we've got to be very careful, because with this being so liquid, it's very easy to excuse me, very easy to lose control of where the colour is actually going if you're not careful. Now, annoyingly, because this is such a thin medium to paint with, as it were, what we can't do is get the airbrush or the hairdryer on it to speed up the drying process, because all we'll do is just blow it everywhere. Let's add a little bit more down here. Other than just picking out detail and shadows and things, glazes and washes are so versatile with the amount of things you can do. Changing the tone, changing the colour. Right, so we'll stand him up somewhere to dry, which I have just over here, out of shot by a long way, is a piece of Oasis from a florist. Now, there's stuff they stick flowers in to make them look pretty. Again, making sure we give our brush a good clean out, because although this is a very thin, I'm not going to say paint because it isn't, it's a medium to paint with, it is very highly pigmented and will stay in your brush quite a long time. Making sure we shut the pot up properly. Pop the brush down. Again, as he's still sitting here, I'll show you some of the things that you can do with a wash. First of all, if we look at Nagash's sword, this is the dark green with the highlights of lighter green. The only green paint on that is the highlights. The rest of it is just washes of various shades of green over black paint, as you can see. And then on the armour, which is this nice dark purple, again that is just washes and shades over what was originally a far lighter purple. In fact, I can show you because I have the pot here. And these pots are probably 25 years old, but you can see, and like any acrylic, it dries lighter than it actually looks. So you can see the colour change that we've managed to achieve just by adding, in this case it was Games Workshop washes, I think it was Drakenhof Nightshade and Druchii Violet. Yes, I know, strange colours. But anyway, oh no, let's have a little bit more fun. It'll take a while to dry properly, but having another good shake, not doing anything dodgy, making sure this is all shook up, because again this wash is donkey's years old. It's an ancient Citadel brown wash, and what I like to use this for specifically is for leather on things like boots. Now again, this is a very densely pigmented medium. What you'll see is as we paint it onto the boots, using the smaller brush to be more careful about not overlapping onto other areas. Checking I'm in shot. I am. You can see with the darker brown on the boots, does give the appearance of, well, a decent leather, not a cheap nasty leather. Worn and scuffed, but ultimately a good quality leather. I think we might do the same thing with his hat as well. Again, just making sure it doesn't puddle up or pool anywhere you might not want it to, just into the details, so it makes them look dark, makes the sunken detail look darker. Just make sure, get the light right for me to see as well. There we go. Now we'll add a bit more. Moving back a bit so I can see what I'm doing. And just careful here on his helmet, because, or hat, helmet, cap, whatever. Because it's very easy to get it onto either the face or the clothes. Clothes isn't so much of an issue, but a strong brown wash on the face, you would probably need to at least recoat it a couple of times. If not, you might have to start out repainting it white. Oh, there goes Nagash. Apologies if I'm pulling him out of shot, I've got to see what I'm doing here. We're nearly done. And the really scary bit is the inside of the ear flap things. I have to get a really strange angle at to get the brush in. Yeah, near enough, that'll do. So that's the cap and the boots done as well. And should we say sod it and go for the skin as well? Why not? Another Bob Ross moment in miniature. As we again clean out the brush. As you can see, there's still pigment coming out of that, so we'll give it another swish about. That's better. Now then, for the face, give it a quick quick shake. We'll be using the Reichland Flesh Shade, another Citadel. I use these because I find them easy and they just work for what I want. Unfortunately, this one's a gloss, but we're going to be putting a flat coat over him anyway when we finish, so it's not a problem. And these smaller brushes do take a while to soak up some of the wash, as it were. But yeah. So again, we just run that over all the skin, allowing the wash to pick out any details, shadows, gaps between the fingers, that kind of thing. Not that with these kind of figures there's a huge amount of detail on the hands. Put him in shot, that might help. Now, as you can see, I've got a bit of a pull on his wrist there, so I'll just put the brush back into it and the brush will suck the excess back up for us. We can then move it somewhere else. I'm having to keep looking to check I've got him in shot now. So we'll add some to the face, making sure to get all the pools of it got rid of. Just spread out, making sure it sinks into all the details. That's the whole point of doing these washes after all. It does have a tendency to want to flow around, but we can so quick and dirty, that's a basic. Basically we're done with the first. Well, is it going to focus? Is it going to focus? Yeah, nearly. There we go. As you can see, just with that simple step, we picked out all the detail on the uniform, started to pick it out on the face and the boots and the hat. Flip it over, we can see all the little creases. And once that's all dried, and I might go back and give it another coat, maybe with a bit of green on the uniform. Sounds strange, I know, but it can work. I might not though, because at the moment it does match Ivan quite well. So, with that, we shall leave it, and we'll come back next time with the just some general light dry brushing. And once that's done, it's just a case of picking out the final details, and he'll be all finished. So, hope that's been of help to you. If it has, thumbs up are always good. Thumbs down, not so good, but I don't mind too much. And if you've got any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. Other than that, like and subscribe and build a model, have fun and chill out. Bye bye.